Welcome. I'm Arno from Dune. We're here live at Aleph in Buenos Aires, and today I'm joined with Diego. ¿Cómo estás, Diego?
Very well, muy bien. They call me Dieguito.
Dieguito,
like little
okay.
Diego.
How's it going?
Very, very well, very well. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for taking the time. So I know you as the founder of Rootstock, but when I connected with a lot of people from Buenos Aires and the community, they say you have to meet with Dieguito. He was one of the first one. If you want to understand what has happened over 10 years now with a crypto community in Argentina, basically you have to talk to Dieguito. So I'm super happy that today we have a time to discuss a little bit, how this community has evolved. But maybe first, introduce yourself. What are you up to right now? And also let's start with your story, like where everything started.
Yes. Well, I'm the chairman of Rootstock Labs, which is the organization that created Rootstock and Reef. So that's taking a lot of my time these days, and also working with the community, the Rootstock community. But also I helped create the Bitcoin community of Argentina and Latin America. So I'm also always contributing to that.
And that was 10 years ago, pretty much.
It
13,
was 13 years. I mean, I would say 12 years ago.
Okay.
12 years ago, we started the community in gathering in physical meetups. It was when the community started to meet in presence. Before that, we were an online community. So we had a forum where we were exchanging ideas, discussing concepts, but it was interesting because we were not for a year, 2012, and some a little bit earlier. Yeah,
I think I think about all those different communities, like in the States where I'm more familiar, was Meetup in New York City, and I think most of the countries were just slowly starting to get together to just find someone who's aware or wants to talk about this Bitcoin, the white paper, like
exactly.
So how things like slowly shape up like back then?
Well, for me, the first year was like trying to understand what Bitcoin was. Like I got in touch with Bitcoin in 2011 and didn't get it, which I think is common
time.
for most people.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I didn't saw the true deep depth of the revolution that Bitcoin implied. But then a very good friend of mine, Wences Casares, who is also big in Bitcoin, he created Sapo. Some people call him the patient zero for Bitcoin in the Silicon Valley. And he brought me back to Bitcoin in the early 2012. And then during 2012, I was doing it was interesting because when he brought me back to Bitcoin, we had capital controls in Argentina.
Okay.
So it was almost impossible to get money in and out of the country, or very difficult. He was in Silicon Valley. He made me open an account in Blockchain Info that was a web wallet.
Okay.
And he sent me 5,000 Bitcoins to Buenos Aires. And I sent...
Very good friend.
Yes. Well, I had to return them. Pitifully, I did that. So I keep a friend, but I lost 5,000 Bitcoins. So, no, and we did this. He sent me 5,000 Bitcoins. I sent back 4,999 because he told me keep one so you can keep playing with it. And then a lot of things happened in that simple event.
Okay.
First thing, my feeling was like, this is how the true open internet of value or money should look like and feel.
Exchange.
Peer-to-peer, we didn't have to ask permission from anybody to do it. We were like thousands of kilometers away. That was the first feeling. So that's what triggered me to, after that, like being for 2 weeks non-sleeping, reading about Bitcoin, mostly about the monetary aspects, because I come from technology, so the technological aspects I had like reviewed.
What was your background before that?
Well, I've been one of the early pioneers of the web in
2000?
In Latin America, 1995 actually. I was the first webmaster for the main newspaper in Argentina called Clarín. In 1990, we launched in March 1996, but I started working on that in 1995. So I lived the .com revolution almost from the beginning. I started reading about Negroponte, the Digital Divide, the Media Lab in 1994. So I fell in love. for me, since very young, technology, I started programming at 11 and also started doing social work at 9 with my mother and then continue by myself. So when I saw the internet, I saw the intersection of those two things. It's like how technology could change society for good. For good, no?
So you have your background in tech in general, very early adopter of Web 2,
yes,
right? Then you saw obviously clearly very early adopters of Web 3.
Yes.
Bitcoin. If we fast forward now, we're in 2013, 14.
Yes.
If we advance a couple of years to like, you know, DeFi summer, like even 2017, ICOs.
Yeah, that's more, ICOs was 2017
and
maybe DeFi summer 2020.
Yeah, so what's happening? I think those are two important, at least like for other countries, those are two important years, right?
Yes.
Different reason, different things. What does the crypto community look like at that time?
Well, I think it's like if you see on the evolutionary steps of crypto, it's like what we have been doing is like rebuilding the full financial system, but in speed mode, no? So in a way, Bitcoin is recreating gold in a digital environment, but also setting the technological foundations to have a truly peer-to-peer and decentralized financial system, no? So that was 2013, the first wave of adoption, and most of the big companies in Latin America started in those meetups we were creating in 2013. Then ICOs were like an experiment to do capital formation on a global level, no? So it was like a lot of projects that were not being funded by VCs suddenly found a way to be funded by the community.
Okay.
So in a way, and with all these waves, you always have, because I think crypto and Bitcoin, they are Darwinian in a sense. So you always have like, you know, a Cambrian explosion and then 95, 97% of the projects die.
Yeah, of course.
But the 3% that remains is setting the foundations for the next wave.
Yeah,
no? So it's like all the exchanges, wallets that were created in 2013 were creating the foundations for 2017. All the capital formation of 2017, exactly.
Yeah.
So all the capital formation of 2017 created the foundations for the DeFi summer, and all the, you know, now we don't know exactly what is the next wave. It's going back. Maybe we can think of this as a spiral. So it's like going back to Bitcoin, but integrating DeFi, integrating all the concepts in a way that, you know, ICOs, DeFi summer brought. And integrating everything, no? So now we are in a different cycle of the spiral. And you know, we go back, but also integrating everything that we have built so far. The other big thing I would say that happened in between, between ICOs and DeFi summer, was stablecoins, no? Because that was another. If you think about the more developed use cases and the ones that are more integrated into the day-to-day society,
especially in Latin America, like remittance,
exactly,
you know, salaries,
exactly, so
sending monies, you know, cross-border payment. I think it's
exactly. So at the end, today, the two winning use cases for crypto are like Bitcoin as a store of value mid to long term, and stable assets as a new international payment system that is slowly but steady replacing, if you want, SWIFT and systems that were very inefficient,
archaic.
But I think in the next step, what we'll see is also the maturing of DeFi.
Okay.
Where,
like, you mean like lending, like which aspect?
For me, the next one is that capital formation, but connected is like integrating, you know, DeFi tools with real world economy. So it's like, you know, it's like because I think that's the next wave. It's like how you provide liquidity, for example, for a business that needs working capital and has trouble getting that capital from traditional financial systems, and can access like a global community of capital.
Let's talk
providers.
about access to capital, because we're here at Aleph, you know, with tons of amazing builders, amazing companies that start in Argentina, like yourself, right? But for us, obviously, we're looking at even LATAM or Argentina a bit more remotely. We see that something is happening. We see tremendous builders, projects, but for a few that I've met sometimes, it seems like access to capital, especially for like startup funding, could be an issue potentially. Do you think that's what is missing really to like help the crypto community like rise and grow and help those tremendous projects, or there's other reason that's maybe has preventing this country from embracing crypto?
I think capital formation is one element for sure. I think 2023, after the FTX collapse, I think the whole ecosystem like was hit very hard in terms of trust. Also, at the same time, AI was capturing a lot of the capital. So, in a way, other spaces didn't get access to capital as they used to.
Kind of took a lot of funding like right away.
Exactly. So, to 2023, 2024 were very tough years for fundraising. And also, I think it's like in the hype cycle, the Gartner hype cycle, crypto is entering a maturing phase. And as I always say, expectations are always greater than reality.
Yeah.
So now we are facing the reality, which in my opinion is amazing. It's like we are creating again the financial system of the future, and we are seeing this like becoming a reality and being integrated into the traditional financial system. We see people like moving from the traditional financial system into this new financial system, but it's less, the potential is more certain. So it's not only about expectations. So that also creates more difficulties for capital formation or investment. But I think the other thing is that we need to connect with the real use cases, like go outside. Crypto was serving crypto in a way. And now we are in that process where we need to start
onboard
thinking
people from outside the crypto circles.
And that requires hybrid models because, for example, lending is not the same until now. The successful lending systems we have are backed by crypto. So it's crypto assets, as collateral to get loans. Now we need to move into saying, okay, how we use real world assets as collateral for that, and that has other challenges, because the custody of the real world assets, secondary market creation for those real world assets, those are the challenges, and also the reputational model of the organizations requesting the liquidity or the capital. So
to be a trusted source.
Exactly. So how we build trust that cross the real world into the digital world in a reliable way. And I think that's some of the challenges we have ahead.
Of course, but that's a theme everywhere. I think trust. With sadly sometimes some bad actors or bad press globally. We make like one step forward globally and then 2 steps backwards at the same time. So it's tough. So obviously through your story, we talk about the community and things that have been growing rapidly since 2012. Now talk to us very briefly, perhaps, about Rootstock today.
Yes.
Like, if people, because I remember the early days, it was actually pretty like avant-garde of like thinking about Bitcoin
we were too
and
early.
smart contract Ethereum. Like a lot of people, like Bitcoin layers is very much trendy now with new chains and things, but you guys were actually, how do we bring the best of both worlds
in this space,
together? So what is Rootstock up to like today? Like what's kind of our latest focus?
Yeah, indeed we were like, the idea started in a conversation with Nick Szabo in 2014, October 2014, then with Sergio Lerner, our chief scientist at Rootstock Labs, and Sergio put together the white paper in October 2015. And what you say is actually what pushed us to go into the world was that when Nick Szabo read the white paper that Sergio put together, in October, he tweeted like, Rootstock the best of Bitcoin and Ethereum under one roof. And we say, okay, now we need to do it. We cannot be like in ideation mode. We need to build it. And fast forward is like, January 2018, we launched the first Bitcoin layer, side chain to Bitcoin in production with 5% of the hashing power of Bitcoin supporting Rootstock, and now it's almost 88% of the hashing power of Bitcoin is supporting Rootstock. So that's from a security perspective, is like I would say Rootstock is the second most secure blockchain after Bitcoin. So that is like great evolutionary step. But then the other aspects is like the community. Rootstock is community driven. So it's like the TVL, which for me is a vanity metric.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's easy to fake
Yeah.
if you want, but the TVL on Rootstock is real capital of real people using the platform.
Why are you saying this comparing to other chains?
Well, because some chains are in the billions of dollars.
Yes.
Rootstock has 300 million of TVL, but those 300 millions have been like built over the 7 years where Rootstock have been running like steadily, and because they provide utilities to somebody. So they are not purely speculative. Is somebody taking loans? Is somebody accessing
action on chain?
Exactly.
With purpose. Yeah.
It's actually somebody saying, okay, I want a dollar that is backed by Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Rootstock is the place. That's why we say that Rootstock is the Bitcoin DeFi layer. No, it's like it's the decentralized finance layer for Bitcoin, and we provide the safest environment to do that. So that's the goal. And then Reef is the scaling layer, because now we know when we started 2017 with Reef, some technologies were not there, like rollups. Now we know how. So it was more about payment channels, all the different
infrastructure that you need,
off-chain infrastructure that you need to scale that. But at the end of 2015, I started sharing this view of the Internet of Value and how we were going to have the same model we have in the Internet of Information with multiple layers that has different delegation of concerns. Like, in the traditional model, you have the data layer, you have TCP/IP, then the application layer, and so on in the OSI model. And in my view, we are building the same thing. So you have a store of value layer, or the secure layer that is maximized for security. If you want, Bitcoin is designed in that way. Then you have the economic coordination layer. In the case of Bitcoin, Rootstock provides that economic coordination. In the case of Ethereum, those two layers are in one network. So
here we're separate.
Here is separate, and then on top of that you have a third layer that is a scaling layer, that is off-chain protocols that rely on the economic coordination layer for settlement and dispute resolution. But in that way, what you can do is that you can have infrastructure that can scale to serve billions of people in a sustainable way.
You built Rollup basically before they existed.
Well, we were focusing more on payment channel systems, but I think payment channels as a technology have a problem that they require working capital, and for people it's counterintuitive to have to preload a channel in order to use it. So I think payment channels for me are more a business tool, and rollups are more a end user tool. So the final architecture we want to see happening is a mixture of like payment channels where different operators, we have non-custodial payment channels, rollups like payment aggregation hubs, and then those payment aggregation hubs will rebalance among them with payment channels. So it will be a hybrid model of.
That makes sense.
So this is something that PISA research in 2019 started to share as an idea, and we are very aligned with that, with that model.
Last question. Obviously, we're super excited now that the Ethereum Foundation is organizing DEF Connect in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, here this November. Dune also will organize our global conference, DuneCon.
And we will be there.
Yeah, of course. And we want to obviously be part of the Bring Argentina Onchain movement. Like, if you have just a few things you want to say for people that might be traveling for the first time, in Argentina, it doesn't have to be crypto related, but what should they expect? What do you love so much about your beautiful countries?
I think we were discussing a little bit of this before, but for me, Argentina has something that is very unique, that we nurture the community bonds. Like we actively do that. It's like we share time with friends, with family, on weekly basis, mate, asado. Like we have our ceremonies where we share that. So if you come there, that's a big part of it. It's like be part of the community and engage. And I think that's why Bitcoin and Web3 is so big in Argentina. And Ethereum as well. You can feel
the sense of a community beyond just crypto. I mean, we've been there for like 2 days only. We feel part of it. Like, it feels like we've been there for weeks. Like, and we've only met like a day ago.
There you go. And for me, that's the key of the success of the crypto community in Argentina, because it's like when you have developers building by themselves in isolation, you might have great technical ideas, but when you have developers work like sharing a space with the people who will use that technology, that's when you have the community. And that's what we have in Argentina. It's like, you know, whether it's the Ethereum community, the Bitcoin community, you know,
working together.
All of them, it's like, you know, we are a community, and then developers are talking directly and sharing ideas with the people who will use that technology. So that for me is the if you want, the magic source, the magic sauce of crypto in Argentina. So do that. Of course, Buenos Aires is beautiful. It's a mixture of Europe and Latin America.
So everybody says.
Yeah,
but it's true actually.
It's true because you have like buildings that have French style, English style, like Italian style. So I mean, it's totally worth it only for the experience of like the cultural experience. But then Argentina, if you go to Patagonia, for me is one of the places I always say is like
Tierra del Fuego, completely.
Well, if you go,
south, right?
you can go to the southest city in the world, to Tierra del Fuego, Ushuaia. But if you go to Patagonia, you have a place that is like paradise, beautiful mountains, an active glacier, the only glacier that is active. You know, glaciers are ice rivers, and this one is actually moving, so you can see the front face of the glacier breaking up. I think it's an amazing.
Great.
You know, it's a country you will love. It's like take a week or 10 days and go like visit around.
Well, hopefully a lot of people that come for DevConnect or DuneCon, you know, extend for multiple weeks. But thank you, Dieguito.
My
Love
pleasure.
Our time, your story, and sharing a little bit what's happening here at Aleph through Crecimiento, and also the entire Bring Argentina Onchain. So
thank you so
again.
much. Great pleasure.